made them there. So they have this sort of interesting context. He showed them at a really well-known gallery in the 80s. They were basically all sold or reserved during 1987. And like we are currently heading into now, there was a huge drop in the market. The market crashed in 87. And all the works became unsold and unreserved, and they were all returned back to him. He put them into storage. He didn't want to see them again. And he pulled them out of storage last year because the storage situation had changed and he needed to deal with the works. And a friend of ours saw them. He took them out of storage. He unwrapped one of them at his studio. A friend of ours saw them and said, "You got to see these paintings. They're fantastic." And so what we're trying to do here is we're showing 4 paintings that he had of this suite of, I think he made 13 total. And a couple of monochromes, a couple of checker patterns, but he, at the time, and this was really, what was going on in the East Village in the 80s, these Keith Harings and Basquiat's and, these guys that, you've heard of them, Jeff Koons, these guys. He was working in sort of extending abstraction and sort of merging it with sort of pop culture, which was very new at the time. Very, very new, this idea of like merging it with like video games. And there's somewhere between like Tetris in here, video games, Space Invaders. There's sort of an interesting thing going on here in these works. And we thought they are really prescient, like really sort of ahead of their time. And in terms of like what's going on right now, a lot of new guys are making work that looks just like this. And we thought, well, isn't this really interesting that...
It's like we're right back there.
And to know that he did it such a long time ago.
Yeah. When you walked in here, you thought they were new, right?
Yeah.
Pretty amazing, no? So these are, I was 8 when he painted these, so... Or no, not 8, like 15. But anyway, not that.
You can say 8.
Always round down.
Always. No, so you guys, where were you in 1987? So, but I mean, he made these works and he put them in storage, and they look.
They weren't just born.
Yeah, they look brand new. So they look really brand new in terms of like, like they look fresh, like he just made them, like they're fresh out of the oven kind of thing. But in terms of like what's going on in the work, they look really, really fresh conceptually, really interesting. So we thought we would give them a show. And that's what we do here. We actually do very specific work. Michael gave us a show here, I don't know, 2006? End of 2006?
Yeah, in December, that's right. So you're about a year and a half ago.
And Michael has been living and working mainly in the city. He'd been living on the Bowery. Had a studio there for, I don't know how many years, 10, 15 years?
About 10 years.
He also went to Pratt and graduated in like the early 90s. And had recently moved to, you can see his place right outside of the window here, we'll point it out. It's across the canal. To a garage space that they had built out with his family. And he has a studio there, and he's been spending the last, he spent about 12 months kind of absorbing the new neighborhood. And he presented work that were reflections of that move. Like, what is the neighborhood?
That's on the site.
I can show you.
I think she wants to say something. What was that?
What's going on?
Una's a critic, by the way.
Yeah, she is.
What?
A very good one.
So I'll show you what Michael's, since he's here, what that work looked like.
I did that work with showing here specifically in mind with the to sort of work with the view outside the window. I wanted to replicate some of the structure of the architecture and the double horizon that you always get when you're in this in the bowl of Gowanus, which is below Park Slope or below Cobble Hill, and it just seemed interesting to me if I were to walk here or to walk to Lowe's, that there would always be 2 horizons, the natural horizon and then usually one above my head, whether it was the overpass for the G train or some of the other structures. There's also a lot of, I guess things got really bad in the 70s, so they built really high fences. And then they got even worse, so they put fences on top of the fences. And you see that quite a bit around here, and I was thinking a lot about those forms and how you really wouldn't see them anywhere else. So I guess I tried to make an abstract painting project that was local, and that was new for me. And I was really happy with that look in the space, especially with the view.
Yeah.
Do you create your website, and is that another job that you do?
Yeah, that's you know, in terms of the project, yeah, I mean, we had some experience designing websites and doing web work, so we knew that in order for this thing to work, we had to do it ourselves. It's like it's usually how things go in the art world. If you want something to happen, you do it yourself.
Yeah.
And that was a good learning for us. But yeah, we do that, we maintain that, but we do everything from painting the walls in here to handling artwork to announcing stuff, writing press releases to, you know, selling work when that happens, you know, you name it. It's like everything, we fundraise, you know, we photograph the exhibitions, you know, it's like every single thing. But it's completely DIY. Yeah.
Let me just say, I'm going to put it out to kind of burning desire questions because it's 12:32 and they have an opening at 3 and they've been really extra generous. We've kind of gone over a little bit. Are there any, and then I'm going to actually take you out to the canal and we're going to continue our conversation about artist-owned spaces and so forth. So, questions?
You guys have any questions?
You can say it.
Yeah.
No, I was just curious to find out your favorite color.
My favorite color? It's a good question. See, for me, it's like, you know, it's like it's whatever it takes, you know, for this specific project. So, you know, if something has to be pink, then it'll be pink. You know, but I'm interested in color. There's certain, you know, I'm interested in color. I'm interested in sort of like the compositional elements, the design. But like I said, I'm not a romantic in terms of my work. It comes out of a different place. Yeah. But color, I don't know. It just depends. I use a lot of metallics.
Well, I should add that when I met him, he was making it was black handmade paper with silver lines. His work was all black and white.
Yeah.
And it was really beautiful about like pattern drawings that he was making. He was, even though he was studying painting, he was making drawings.
Yeah, he didn't really make paintings until like 5 years
And
ago.
then we started sharing, we've been sharing a studio for a long time. So I think he influences me with his geometry, and